We're going to continue our stock take of Dubai's most important sectors now, turning the spotlight on hospitality with Chris Hewett, Associate Director of TRI Consulting. Chris, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Now, you've picked 5 top stories out for us that are shaping the hospitality sector, and as we've heard this morning, Dubai's very own Bollywood theme park is well underway. Our producer, Georgia Tolley, was out yesterday finding exactly what was going to be included in that park. When I left in 2013, there wasn't a lot of movement in the theme park industry. It had all become very stagnant. What has changed?
Well, I think this is a natural evolution of the tourism destination and the tourism model here in Dubai. Dubai has got very ambitious themes or goals to attract 20 million visitors by 2020. That was part of the Tourism 2020 plan. I think that came out just before you had left. In order to do that, you need to create a lot of diversity and a range of leisure attractions and activities that people can utilize and visit throughout the course of their stay. Also, in order to increase the tourism industry, you need to increase the length of stay. So by having a greater number of activities, it's going to increase the stay because people will spend more time and more days allocated to doing different types of activities. And the Dubai theme parks and resorts, as well as the IMG World Adventures that is opening up this year also, is going to be able to provide visitors with a greater diversity of attractions.
So I get in general that having more theme parks is a good thing. It will fill hotel rooms, the Orlando model. But how do we gauge A, the type of theme parks that are going to work, and B, when we get too much, or will we ever get too much? Because we've got, Dubai Parks and Resorts, they're 3 theme parks, and they've done a deal with Six Flags for even more. There's a rights issue ongoing at the moment. They're raising billions of dirhams to build more theme parks. IMG World of Adventures, you mentioned, opening very, very soon. We've got all the water parks already. And don't forget Global Village, which is the home team here. We're part of the same company as Global Village. And only about 6 weeks ago, Dubai Holding created an entire new division called Family Entertainment and New Media. We're the new media bit. Family Entertainment is Done Events and Global Village. And you can assume if Dubai Holdings created a new division called Family Entertainment, they're not just going to stick at Global Village. There will be more there. And the point of my question is, how much capacity can we absorb in terms of theme parks? How many visitor days can we absorb, Chris?
Well, we've got a very strong captive audience. If you look at Dubai, you've got two-thirds of the world's population with an 8-hour flight. And you have a strong captive demand. You've got India, which is 3 hours away, and hence why they've created the Bollywood theme park to tap into that strong captive demand. The Indian market is growing and is now the largest source market into Dubai. And you've also got very strong populations within the GCC. Yes, there is at this stage we can see that there is a lot of supply coming in a very short period of time. But if we take that in context of the size and the number of people that are going to be coming into Dubai, I think there is capacity for future development of theme parks, and it has to be staged and obviously developed in a methodical manner.
It's interesting what you say there about bringing people in from the wider region, because that's one of my questions about our second topic, which is Expo, of course, one of the big talking points that we've had on the show actually this week. We've got the international planning meeting going on at the moment. They're sharing plans, what's going to happen with international participants. Do you expect Expo to bring in more regional or international visitors?
I think what you're going to see is you're going to have a combination of both. You're going to have international visitors that are there as part of the actual expo, exhibiting and participating in that. But then you'll have regional visitors who will want to go and see what it's all about. It hasn't been in the region before. And people are going to be inquisitive and they want to see what the expo is about. So you're going to have a mixture of both that are going to be coming in.
What ups and downs do you expect to see in tourism both before and after? I mean, I know with big events like Olympics, big sporting events, sometimes they see a downturn in visitors beforehand because people are obviously waiting for the event. Sometimes I know with Australia, for example, with the Olympics, they didn't necessarily see as many people coming in afterwards because they'd done their big Australia trip. What do you think is likely with Expo?
I think, we need to take Expo out of the context of the Tourism 2020 plan. There's a plan to attract 20 million visitors by 2020, and you've also got the Expo that's happening at the same period of time. Those two events are independent. Dubai is trying to create 20 million visitors outside of the Expo, and having the Expo that's going to happen at the same time as beneficial for the city. At the moment we are seeing a shift in the way of performance-wise of hotels. The average room rates in hotels are dropping, and they have been doing so for the last 18 months. We're seeing a wider increase in the number of mid-market hotels that are coming into the market. So in the way of downturn, I think we're going to see continual growth in visitor numbers, but we're going to see a maturation in the actual hotel performance in the hotel sector within the city.
Well, your third pick for what's been shaping the hospitality industry is Dubai International, taking the crown of the world's busiest airport in 2014. When I left, I think it was third. Now it's number one. Where do you go from there?
Well, I think onwards and upwards. Dubai International Airport just opened up Concourse D earlier this year, so that's going to increase the capacity even further. At the moment, Dubai is the third largest or third busiest airport in the world. And that's taken into consideration domestic airports as well, which Atlanta is now currently leading the way. So Dubai is slowly but surely moving up and increasing its position in the global rankings.
A number of SMSs coming in. I like this one. Mahmood writes in, the issue with having so many theme parks is the prices of admissions are high. The parking and logistics support, we need to have that, and the hot weather. What do you make of those questions from Mahmood?
I think looking at the logistics, if we look at Dubai Parks and Resorts, there is going to be an extension of the metro that's going to go down there. They're increasing the accessibility through overpasses that are going to go into that area. In terms of pricing, obviously, it's benchmarked on what is happening with other leisure and park orientated destinations within the country, including Abu Dhabi. But as more come in, I think you'll see that prices will probably become more competitive because they all want to try and attract visitors, and they need to have a price that is going to be affordable for people.
What about weather? Has anyone ever built theme parks in places with such extreme weather as us, either in the extreme north in Canada or somewhere as hot as this? I was in Singapore last summer at the peak of the summer at Universal Studio Store. It was hot and sticky, but it was 34 degrees, not 44 degrees.
Well, if you look at the IMG World Adventures, that's an indoor theme park. So that entire complex is going to be indoor. So it's not going to have the same issues of seasonality that you would with having the hot temperatures outside. Some components of the Dubai Parks and Resorts will be indoor as well. So that's going to try and mitigate those issues that you have with the heat outside.
One of the other trends you picked up on, Brandy, you've been looking at these, haven't you, going through Chris's list?
Yes, I have. Interested in the tax reprieve to develop mid-market hotels, becoming exempt from the 10% municipality fee. Now, that was in Q3 2013. What effects it had?
It's had a very positive effect on the industry. What it's allowed developers to do is increase the viability of mid-market hotels. There were a lot of issues in the past with land prices making it very difficult to develop mid-market hotels and making them stack up on economic sense. So DTCM saw that there was this challenge. They saw that the supply of hotels in Dubai was heavily geared towards 5-star and luxury, with a very limited supply of quality mid-market hotels. So this tax exemption of the municipality fee is a way of trying to incentivize developers to increase the supply of mid-market hotels, and it has worked. There is a very strong pipeline of 3 and 4-star hotels that are entering into Dubai over the next 2 to 3 years.
What kind of effect have you seen Airbnb have on that sector?
Airbnb, I think, is looking at two different segments. The hotel is all-inclusive, full-service offering, whereas Airbnb is purely really an accommodation type offering. I wouldn't say there's been no impact, but I think they're two different markets looking at two different elements.
Chris Hewett of TRA Consulting, always good getting your thoughts. Appreciate you joining us this morning.